There's kind of a false separation that happens with a lot of uh, religious traditions, and that's that the myths, the mythologies, the allegories, the stories are taken in place of scientific fact, are taken in place of observable reality. That fault, like you have to choose between your God and science or your God and observable reality. The thing is that that schism, that separation between God and fact is false. Wherever a fable introduces itself, wherever a myth has power, it's part of wisdom to let go of the myth and to let observation, scientifically speaking, observation be our conclusion about the world in a particular way. For example, people who think that because the Bible, people who follow the Bible, because the Bible only goes back so many thousand years until Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, it's assumed that the earth itself must not be any more than 5 or 6 thousand years old, because these fables, these stories, only go back that far. But it's demonstrable that the earth is in fact millions or billions of years old, that there's fossils, that dinosaurs existed. There's many scientifically observable reasons to think this. But when those two things, when the facts meet the myths, it's unwise to sort of hang on to the myths in spite of the facts. The thing is that God is no different than truth, whatever the truth is. God is no different than truth. So we have to sort of take back. It's like it's time. I think it's well over time for a spiritual worldview which does not dismiss, much less fight, scientific observation of the world, of the physical universe. Knowing that whatever these observations are, they are included in the grand scheme of God and God's creation. It isn't necessary, in other words, to fight science in the name of religion, because the fight is false. There is no fight. There only is a fight if you abide by, if you stubbornly hang on to myths about the universe, about the nature of things. Then there is a fight. But I want to make that absent in this faith. I want to make that gone. Where fact meets fable, fable must go. Where archaeology and history meet stories, stories go. Science is nothing except the physical observation of the universe, of the cosmos. And it should be accepted wholly as such. There is no real contradiction. If there is found to be a contradiction that is irrefutable, demonstrable proof that our conceptualization of a God is false, must be false, then our conceptualization of God must go, and a new one must come up. Revelation a lot of times freezes into dogma, which is immovable, which is rigid, which doesn't share the character of the flexibility of continual observation. It's still, it doesn't move. doesn't change. Instead, what our focus should be on is discovery of God, discovery of God's truth, discovery of the truth of this universe, the nature of the universe, how it works, scientific discovery. The truth, in other words, should be a continual living discovery of the truth of things, of the true nature of things, and not a retreat into the trench of dogmatism. That's the problem of a lot of what's going on in our spiritual world today. That there's this retreat into the solid, immovable, uncompromising fortress of dogmatism, of dogma, of doctrine, which can have no other considerations, regardless of the human condition, regardless of evidence that may come up, which contradicts previously held beliefs. It is a closed system. Closed. What we want is an open system. We want a system which is accommodating to reality, not in denial of reality. That's an extremely important thing, because spirituality, I believe, itself evolves like everything else evolves. It develops along with our consciousness. Human consciousness over time, very gradually, but still, over time, heightens and expands. Human consciousness, human awareness. It would make sense then that religion or spirituality, in a true sense, would follow the same trajectory of evolving and expanding, and not to be left dead. That's really one of the biggest contentions that I have when it comes to establishment of religion. And it ought to be abandoned.